California bill would fine small businesses $18,000 if employees stop shoplifters. So if you have anything in your manual that says that, you need to keep your employees protected and safe, or we're going to show you later, you need to have an alarm system, or you need safety training or anything like that, you could get in trouble for that. And the state can fine you $18,000. You absolutely cannot say in your employee manual that your employees must confront shoplifters or stop them at all. You just kind of have to let them at it. The only thing it asks employers to do is keep a log of records like this. That's literally it. You can't stop them. You can't report it. You don't need to call the police. That's unnecessary. They just can't handle it. Don't call them. Write it in a log. Write it down in your book. They'll take a look at it later.
I saw some people stealing some iPhones this afternoon, and all right. And then
that goes
went to
in the
lunch.
book. That's an entry. So this was Los Angeles last month when dozens of thieves stole from a Yves Saint Laurent in broad daylight. Take a look. Now, these people are not at all worried about getting arrested because the likelihood of that is so low in California. So there are just so many of them stealing high-end merchandising. Now, you have to wonder, where are they going with that? Who buys it from them at a discount? Why are they doing this? And why is this just so easy to do in California in broad daylight, right? Well, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says, well, sometimes you have to steal because you have a family, high-end bags and things like this. And you just...
Last night,
yeah,
I saw a video where people were taking 85, 65, 75-inch TVs out of Best Buy.
Yeah, yeah.
That is not to feed your kid.
Oh, yeah, I saw that video today, too. Yeah, they're just shoving it, and they got their shopping carts, and they're, just grabbing as many TVs as they can, and it's all for feeding your kids.
Yeah, watch what she has to say here.
And so they go out, and they need to feed their child, and they don't have money, so you maybe they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night.
Yeah, that's
so.
Bread
Hey, if you have kids and you're in a bind, why aren't you stealing?
Yeah.
You should be doing that because you're in that bind too.
If I saw people stealing, if they were going in and legit stealing food and they were just taking some meat and some bread and stuff like that, I almost could understand that. You know what I mean? But they're not. They're stealing handbags and TVs and Home Depot tools and stuff like that.
And so you're saying you would stop them if you were in a Home Depot and you saw that? And why? Because definitely. You don't own Home Depot. Just I want to know.
I think as a good employee.
I guess it's the principle of it.
Yeah, I feel
no, if you're not an employee,
like an agency. Oh, if you're not an employee,
here's the
Clayton
thing.
chased down a shoplifter on New York City for stealing linens, and he didn't.
Yeah, I was just walking by and I saw this guy bust out of a store on the Upper West Side.
Yeah,
Upper West Side. And he just busted out of a store with an armful of brand new linens in his arm. And he just started running. And I started running after him. And the store owner came out and I was following the guy running after the guy.
It's this guy.
And I ran right up to him and I'm and he was trying to hide. And he's and I'm no, it's right here, And anyway, I just ran after the guy.
Okay, but why? Why do that? It's not your linen store. Why do you care? David, expand on
because
that.
So I shop at Home Depot. I buy tools there. I buy things. And if enough people steal, what's going to happen? They're going to shut it down. And then I don't have a Home Depot anymore. So it's kind of a place that I care about.
Yeah. Okay. And also there's just this idea that you want to live in a society where there are certain rules because it makes us all safer. Right. And so if you can just steal, if you can just hurt people, then we're not better for it. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to know how other people.
Also, I think it's just a sense of justice. And maybe because as a kid, I wanted to be Batman. So I just have this, I think I still do, I have this sense of I'm going to help. There's a store owner just got robbed and I'm witnessing it happen. And also I read Spider-Man, the fact that he stood by and watched that guy escape and then killed his Uncle Ben. Right. I mean, that's what happens. That's the age old story of Spider-Man, with
Okay.
Great power comes great responsibility.
Right. There is such a thing as altruism. Okay. Well, the California bill, let's get back to that, actually gives employers more power to issue restraining orders against their employees that they think have been violent or threatening. Because I guess that's the increasing problem, is like deal with the violence inside your personnel. But when it comes to requiring employers to have a plan to keep employees safe, they're just striking all of that. Now, I just did a screen movie of all the things that are stricken from this bill since it was written in the 70s. And it's basically just don't do any of that. Like, don't, provide a violence prevention plan. Don't provide assistance, don't have, them report workplace violence. None of this. Like, we don't need this. We cannot handle it. Even if you report it to the state of California, we don't give two shits. Basically, none of that. It goes on and on. Here is where they strike that they can't even have a requirement for an alarm system anymore. No installing, implementing, and maintaining an alarm system or creating an effective means by which employees can be alerted to the presence, location, and nature of security threat. We can't do that. You're basically always at a threat, so why require it? They certainly don't have to train their employees for workplace crimes. All of that, nope, stricken. Again, this is the edits to the bill as it stands right now that lawmakers are signing off on. Like, yeah, let's get rid of that. That's fluff. We don't need it. Prepping for an active shooter, nope. They don't have to do that. That's also, I don't need to be doing that. And definitely not reporting any incidents or preparing for shoplifters. Take a look at this. Now, you definitely cannot, this is the one that's being that's getting maybe the most media. You cannot have any provisions for prohibiting the employer for maintaining policies that require employees that are not dedicated safety personnel to confront active shooters or suspected shoplifters. You can't have any rules that say that your employees engage with those people or stop them or confront them at all unless they are security personnel.
I think it's funny they're putting those two in the same category, like an active shooter and a shoplifter.
Right.
Like that's,
yeah. I mean, you should not require your employees to confront an active shooter. Sure. Right.
No, I agree with that.
And I'm not even saying you should require them to confront a shoplifter, but maybe like you must call the police. You must, get the security alarm. You must, put these safety measures in place. Like most of it is just not there. And what is replaced is you must keep a logbook, basically, that's accessible by the state. That's literally
I wonder if this applies to banks. Like, the classic trope of like hitting the alarm in case of a bank robbery. Is that like
right? Are you allowed to do that anymore?
Yeah.
Like
no,
hit the
you
bell?
can have it. It's that the state must not require it, and the employee or the employer must not be required to do it, and an employer must not ask their employee to do it. And so, there's not even, in one of the edits we showed you, there's not even a requirement to call the police. Like, you don't even have to do that. You can, if you want to, you can have an alarm, but that's not now state employment protocol. This bill hasn't passed. It just passed the assembly, but that was a second hurdle. Again, this is part of, opponents say, this will fine people from confronting shoplifters. It doesn't pertain to like you, the fellow citizen. So it's not like if Clayton was stopping this linens thief, he would be fined. He could be if he's the employer, that his employees then are confronting the shoplifter, right? So that's nuance that we should keep in mind. Now, gas station owners especially are protesting this bill. Just last month, they showed up in California legislature saying that this bill will earn them just more shoplifters. Even though it cleared the assembly, they say that it's just going to make us keep records of this and then invite more people to shoplift because they know we can't do anything about it. Now, it sure does seem, though, that theft is on the rise in progressive cities. The FBI has no official data on this because their crime stats for larceny only go up to 2019 or 2020. But we see in more progressive cities, videos like this are common. This is just, they're just taking stuff.
I actually witnessed that myself when I was in San Francisco. Somebody walked in, they just started throwing a bunch of razors and everything in their bags and then just walked out.
Yeah, and she even she gave a peace sign to the camera because she knows there'll be no consequence. And in fact, my cousin Martha had this exact same thing happen to her in a CVS. And she said the people came in and they had a big shopping bag. And she was like, oh, that's strange. Maybe they're just doing inventory. So she didn't think much of it. And then everybody else was kind of like this. And they just let him pull off the chapsticks and the Tylenol and all of the stuff, right? And then she's like, oh, well, maybe I'll take a picture of them in the car because she had her phone out. So she did that. And when the cops came, they're like, oh, no, that's probably a fake license plate. We don't need those pictures. They're probably worthless. Their attitude is basically, there's not much we can do about this. It just happens. And in fact, a friend of ours, a friend of the show, told us that their son, who lives in Oakland, had to drive an hour the other day looking for a Band-Aid because every CVS had no Band-Aids. They'd just been totally looted because he cut himself. And so that's another reason to, want to deter shoplifting, even if you don't own the CVS. But also, the economy of this is that it means prices are higher for us.
And it's also really, really good for companies like Amazon. Crime up. Hey, you know what? Don't even bother going out of your house. Live in your 15-minute city, and we'll just deliver packages by drone right to your front door. You need Band-Aids? We'll get them there in an hour now because we can do that. Yeah. You don't need to drive to a CVS.
Steal them off your porch, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, true.
Packages off your porch.
Yeah.
Now, this is how supermarkets and drugstores are dealing with this, and you may have already seen this in your local neighborhood. Watch.
Don't look for detergent on these grocery store shelves. There are none to grab.
So you can't keep your tide on the shelf. How bad is the shoplifting here?
It's bad.
We've seen it at pharmacies. So much stuff under lock and key. All an effort to fight the shoplifting epidemic. And scenes like these. But now supermarkets are embracing the anti-shoplifting campaign. At Morton Williams in New York City, this sign says it all. Please contact a manager or an employee if you wish to purchase this item. Where are those things kept? Behind the register. Want aspirin? The cashier has to unlock the glass case to grab the medicine. Thieves are also targeting ice cream and meat. Who could forget the guy allegedly stealing all those steaks at a Trader Joe's in Manhattan?
Walmart now has the steak locked up.
People are taking this and putting it in their purse, just like that.
And walking right out.
Some supermarket chains are reporting a whopping 30% rise in shoplifting.
So if it's you and I that's paying the extra costs on these thefts.
Morton Williams is also beefing up security. This guard is posted front and center for everyone to see.
Wearing a mask.
Look, and we have cameras, and they still find the blind spot to be able to conceal the merchandise.
So get ready to see more shelves like these, empty of products you want to buy. They're not out of stock. They're just hidden away.
I wonder if that reporter then took that steak back out of her purse.
Yeah.
I was going to just say the same thing. Wow, she's pretty brazen.
She got, look, I, as a reporter, I can steal right on camera and no one will stop me.
And then it turns out the guy she's talking to is the only authorized person in the store to tackle somebody. Right. Takes her down.
Yeah.
See my black eye as a result of trying to steal this steak.
Yeah. Now, incidentally, I'm going to bring you this fun little story, little historical tidbit, because this is how grocery stores used to work back in the days of the general store, where you would go in, tell the clerk the things you wanted, like 3 pickles out of the jar, a pound of grain or what have you. And then they would pull it down from the shelves, like in Willy Wonka. Remember this guy? Like you couldn't get candy. You had to ask the candy man and he would get it for you. And then you'd check out. Remember?
Probably did this because those thieving kids with their little sticky hands.
Yeah. And do you know how we went from that until now? The reason we even have shelves that we can take things from ourselves is progress in canning and cardboard. Because when cardstock was invented, it made boxes possible. And when that happened, it all became clear that consumers could then pick things off the shelves because all products were the same. That wasn't the case before. You could go to the local store and you'd see the, little Jimmy there. You'd be like, no, I want the biggest pickles, not those, give me those. And now everything's the same because they're all in a jar. This comes from Benjamin Lohr's book, The Secret Life of Groceries. And he has this fascinating story about the history of the cardboard box and how that came to give us grocery store aisles in the first place. I brought this graphic. It doesn't look good on your screen. I apologize. I'm going to I do this all the time.
This is her book report hour.
Read us the book, Natalie.
For the next hour, sit back, grab a pile of popcorn.
It's there, and I'm going to paraphrase. So a man from Brooklyn named Robert Geyer is the person who invented these foldable boxes, and his first client was the National Biscuit Company, aka Nabisco. And so they made an order, and he wrote them back and said, you can't just put these in a box and then sell them in a store. You should have some kind of label or brand on it. And he said, you need a name. So they came back and they came with the name, You Need a Biscuit, which is Nabisco. You need a biscuit. You see it written there. Maybe you don't. It says all of these individually wrapped products beget something even more precious to us, which is choice, which is a synonym for control, which is what we don't have now. In a world without boxes lit with all these insignias, there's little need for a consumer to touch anything. And suddenly the cardboard box, made us think that going to the general store was a waste of our time, and we grew suspicious of the clerk behind the counter. Is he cheating me with his scales? Is he otherwise shortchanging us? So this suspicion became why we have grocery stores and things in packaging. The result in 1916 is the next lurch towards a grocery store itself, which is self-service and choice. Now, we blew it, though, collectively. Like, we are collectively losing the privilege of choice and control because we cannot combat shoplifting. And so something that was given to us as a gift, as like a way that we control our lives, is being taken from us collectively. We have lost that privilege. This is why we can't have nice things.
I bet all the people that lost their hands back in the old days are rolling in their graves right now.
Oh, for shoplifting?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they just were in the wrong era.
They lived in the wrong time. It's like I said last night, Jeffrey Epstein, he died a few years too early now.
Okay, but that's not past tense. I think, is it Singapore that you still can, and certain Middle Eastern countries, you can get caned and things. And so that's why they have so little petty theft. I'm not advocating that.
Caned and 3 years in prison.
There's something to be said for, even longer and then other people can buy their detergent off the shelf.
I did recently see an article about it was a shop owner, I think it was in California, where he just made every product on his shelves. I can't remember what the cutoff is, but something like $999, so that basically it would be prosecutable in larceny. Yes. And so every product on his shelves is priced that, and then you get a discount when you check out.
Yeah, when you go to the counter.
Prosecute everything.
Wow.
Yeah, when you get up to the counter, then he gives you the discount. So everything is priced at the level, and if you touch anything, you can go to jail. So it's over.
Is that working?
Apparently, he says it's working. The report, you and I read the same report, and apparently says it's working. So when you get to the counter, you give him the item, he gives you the discount coupon. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, it's not $100. It's actually only 10 cents. But Thank you for being honest and coming up to the counter to pay for it. Now you don't go to prison.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.